And now the 419 with Gretchen DeBacker, Matt Killam, and Kevin Mullen.
Welcome back to another exciting edition of the 419. My name is Matt Killam.
And I'm your guest host, Rhonda Sewell.
That's right. Gretchen, you've never looked better.
Thank you so much.
Don't adjust your sets or change the dial. And I guess if you have a dial, you're probably in a Model T. We've got a celebrity guest and an actual journalist in studio today. Kevin is out on assignment, getting hopefully whatever fixed on his face he can be. We're not supposed to talk about it based on HIPAA laws. But he needs some help, that guy. And Gretchen is also outside the studio as well. So I have an actual journalist in studio, thank goodness. Rhonda Sewell is here wearing many hats. Rhonda, there's few people in the area that do not know who you are. But at the risk of blowing through those who don't, may I introduce you? And
Yes.
When I think you probably describe yourself in this way, you are a friend of Matt Killam.
Definitely.
First and foremost.
I was hoping you would say that
That's
first.
right. But I have a journalist background, and I can tell that even when we first met, we met on the professional level, and there is a certain polish to how you walk through life. And right now, you are exemplifying that polish at the Toledo Museum of Art. At what capacity?
Oh, well, first, I'll cash app you later for saying all those nice things.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
Done and done.
But yes, I do wear many hats in the community, and we did meet a long time ago, maybe 2 decades ago,
Yes.
just in our professional careers. But you talk about journalism. I was a reporter for the Blade newspaper for 18 years.
18
Yes,
years.
and now I'm director of advocacy and external affairs for the Toledo Museum of Art. So I advocate for library funding. I'm involved in public policy. And even before that career, I spent 15 years at the Toledo Lucas County Public Library. So I've worked for some really great anchor institutions in this community.
This show is about telling Toledo stories today. There's a million things going on that we're extremely proud of. You mentioned the word advocate and advocacy, which you embody. So you are a perfect plug-in for this morning, but it is relatively early, so I want to thank you for that. You look magnificent, only furthering the fact that my physical form is in decline in a way that's incalculable.
No way.
But you are a perfect plug-in here. We've got a great show. We've got the president and CEO of the Y across the area, a friend of mine and a friend to all, Brad Toft. We also have a friend of ours from the Ann Grady. That agency does a lot of work.
So much.
Gentleman is also a counselor. He's going to kick us off. All of this is brought to us, of course, by Witro Wealth Management as well as the Greater Toledo Community Foundation. And they've charged us to make sure we're telling appropriate stories. Whenever you get even 3 people leading a show, you see the community through a certain lens. So having you on this morning, you can walk me through the lens here together. Anything going on at the museum that you want to talk about today? You've got a busy summer, I know.
So much going on. So we are involved in what's called Transformation 2027, and that's a complete reinstallation project with the main building, which we call the Green Building. It's named after the architect.
Okay.
And so as of June 8th, which is a few days ago, we completely closed down our art galleries.
Okay.
So the museum will not be closed. So we have the Peristyle that's still open, the Glass Pavilion. We have the Family Center, which is so active in the summer.
Every Saturday, or at least every other, we are in that
and
basement.
I grew up in the Family Center. At one time, my family, we lived across the street from the museum. So it's near and dear to my heart. So that will be a wonderful thing for 2027 in the fall, winter, we will reopen.
Rhonda, exciting place. You're doing exciting work. We're going to transition to our next segment where our guests come on and we fumble through episode of the 419 without Kevin and Gretchen, but I think we're doing okay. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for watching.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at witroadvisors.com.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.
Welcome back. We are live here to some degree, and by live I mean excited to have our first guest. That is a countdown from a higher being. It's a spirit-based show here at the 419. Rhonda Sewell is in studio filling in for both Kevin and Gretchen. It just goes to show it only takes one person to do those two bozos jobs. So again, Rhonda, thank you. We are excited to have a friend on the show to talk about two things. You're with the Ann Grady Services group, certainly. You're a counselor, and you have a name that is not Matt, which is very easy for anyone to say, but Shyam Suchak.
Shyam Suchak.
Shyam Suchak. I knew it.
No, it is one of those tongue twisters, and so it's Sean, kind of like Sean with an M and then Sue and Chuck.
It is. It represents elegance, which of course is totally foreign to the American dialect. So it is great to have you here. You and I have met in passing on a multitude of occasions, but we run risk whenever we have friends on the show to blow past the important work that our friends do in the community. And this morning is going to highlight that. You've been stuck with Rhonda far longer than you've been stuck with me. But I do want to talk a little bit about Ann Grady Services.
Sure.
Most people are aware of it. We've had guests on the show that have made mention not only of being employed there, but how important the services are. Can you give us a little bit of history in the portfolio?
Absolutely. So I have the pleasure of serving as the Chief Operating Officer at Ann Grady Services. We were founded in the 70s by parents.
So was I.
Hey, me too. We were all, yes.
No comment.
We can cut that out on
Right, exactly.
And so in the 70s, we had a few parents with individuals that had disabilities trying to find a place for their loved ones to be cared for in a way that had dignity and quality. And so with that challenge, the parents came together and founded Ann Grady Services. At that time, it was called Desham Center, with the idea that they were going to serve 10 counties. But then in 1982 is when we opened our doors. Ann Grady and Walter Grady were one of the founding members, and their son, Tom Grady, lived with us at the Ann Grady Center. So that was the main facility that started in 1982. Understood. We moved about 96 individuals in at first. At this point, we serve over 250 individuals in various capacities. So we provide services that are residential, both in facilities, in supported living sites where we have staff go out there and serve these individuals. We have day programs. In fact, one of our day programs is celebrating a 10-year anniversary today.
Cool. Congratulations.
Yes, it's very exciting.
That doesn't happen by accident.
No, yes. It's the commitment and the dedication of the staff there, absolutely.
I want to interrupt you just a second, and this is actually for both of you. The word dignity really struck me, and that is something that I think we say with some regularity or run through, but it seems particularly appropriate after last week to talk a little bit about dignity. Rhonda, that is how you walk through life, not just from your mother, but certainly a whole family of people who lead and look at things through a dignified lens. But if I may ask you, that has to be one of the driving principles of how you get out of bed every day, right? You have 250 people that are under your charge, and they all deserve, as we all do, dignity. But at the risk of putting you on the spot, do you mind talking a little bit about what that means to you personally?
Absolutely. I think being dignified is how you show up in places and how you receive people in your spaces, right? I think a lot of people have the lens of judgment.
Certainly.
And sometimes we just judge the book by its cover.
Yeah, that's why we eliminated Gretchen from the show.
She left to make it.
Nothing dignified about that. Please keep going.
And so I think it's important to be more intentional in how we are not only showing up, but receiving people in our lives.
Rhonda, again, you are standing on the shoulders of some real lineage here, but dignity is certainly something, or a principle that you live by. I have a slightly different question, but similar theme. We all live our lives through our phones now, right? Social media is how we present ourselves and how we, unfortunately, in my opinion, present how we feel about things that either occurred locally or nationally. You are not a foreign person to social media. Can you talk to me a little bit about, maybe even as a journalist, but carrying a lineage that is a very proud family lineage, dignity to you means what in sort of a modern era?
Well, I love my friend's answer here.
I didn't have an answer.
No. This friend.
Okay.
It was so on point. I mean, I can't go, any higher than what you said. It is so true. But at the thought of standing on shoulders so great.
Yes.
And thinking of my parents
Yes.
and the matriarchal
Yes.
family that I have, my mother, her mother, my paternal grandmother.
Tell everyone who your mother is.
Billy Johnson.
That's
and
right.
she retired after 49 years
That's right.
as the CEO of the Area Office on Aging of Northwest Ohio, and in the hands of Justin Moore, our friend, who's doing great work.
Yes, he is.
But there's a quote that can sum it up. What I think of dignity is that each of our individuals that we think of, it's a privilege to live a dignified life. I think it is. But Gloria Naylor, who was the author of The Women of Brewster Place, once said, we should all individually be militant about the validity of our story or the validity of our truth, our true north, who we are. And I think, wow, if you can achieve that, that is dignity.
Yes,
that
ma'am.
is living a dignified life. So that's what I think of.
And we're all, we're all human beings, right? We're bipedal, carbon-based, although we're similar molecularly, no doubt about it. Every day is not, it is progress, not perfection, right? So walking through Ann Grady, for those, again, people who may not know, what would people see and what are some of the services that people can?
Absolutely. So residential services.
Certainly.
We have the main base facility off of Airport Highway on Eber Road. We serve about 53 individuals in that site, and then we have about 7 group homes where we have additional 56 individuals that we serve there. About 50 individuals in supported living sites. We have over 175 individuals served in the different day programs. You will see our transportation department, the buses, CTS.
Yes,
You
certainly.
probably have seen those around. So providing transportation that's non-medical, getting people around activities. We have an on-site therapy team, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. We have a nursing team on site as well. And then we also have respite services that we have just relaunched, which is very exciting. It's kind of a way to get families that are caring for their loved ones in their homes a little bit of a respite to just take some time. Because caregiving is the burnout is real.
Yes, it is. That is something I'm embarrassed to say. I learned a piece of that through this show, having people come in and talk about, don't forget about the caregivers, which I think we all too often do. We admire their courage, but we forget that they're also human beings too and deserve time. May I ask you, sir?
Yes.
There is a wide range of things that you oversee. What in God's name makes you qualified to do this? Give us a little bit of your background. You're now a jack of all trades.
Sure.
Yeah.
So in terms of my educational
Yes, sir.
background, I have a bachelor's in communication. I have a master's in organizational leadership,
Certainly.
and then just recently acquired a master's in counseling. So, and then I just acquired my license in counseling. I have an HR background, operations background. I've been in the field of developmental disability services since 2002.
You know there are easy jobs out there, sir. Why have you done this to yourself? You could just you could be milling it in at Dave & Buster's this evening as a general manager.
Right. Well, I think it was one of those things where I did not even realize I was going to be in this field when I started.
Yeah, certainly relatable.
I thought I was going to be working with children, and and then it ended up being in this field. It is such a interesting thing to kind of recognize that you have a certain calling, and
Yes.
the calling to serve, which is one of the things that motivates me to do the
Yes.
work I do.
Can I ask a question, Matt?
The show is mostly about me.
I know it is. But that touches on something about community, because you are a community-centric person. I see you out with your dance group as well at the museum.
Yes.
And so you do so many things. But let's say we're sitting here 10 years from now on the 20th anniversary of Ann Grady. What are some things that you hope to, as COO, have accomplished in 10 additional years of Ann Grady services?
Sure. So just to kind of correct, the Ann Grady services has been in operations since the 82, so like over 40 years.
Sure.
And then one of our day programs celebrating their 10 year this year. I think one of the things that we want to be able to do is have a community-based system that is going to be welcoming of the people we serve, and not only in a very superficial manner of like, yes, they can attend events and they go places, but actually being inclusive of opportunities that they do deserve, which I'm excited about. One of our individuals is going to be able to display their artwork at the museum the June 20th through July, which is highlighting some of the artists with disability, and very excited about
proud of that program.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes.
That great question, Rhonda, and thanks to your work, you had an even better answer. You did mention that you've now gotten you're a counselor.
Yes.
It seems to be regrettably a growth industry. Can you talk to me a little bit about the services you provide, and at the risk of leaning it too much, why they've never been more important in our walking history?
Yes, I think mental health has always been in existence, right? I think it has just been suppressed and not been recognized and identified. One of the reasons I went back to school to get my counseling degree was in my day-to-day interactions with employees. I partly oversee HR. And so when you're talking about performances, when you're talking about people's, the way they show up, there were so many components of mental health, personal issues that were coming on that were significantly impacting their lives. And so I think more and more we have people that are stressed, that are burnt out, that are bearing the weight of responsibilities that they probably are not able to or not equipped to handle. And we are living in a society that says, keep going.
That's right.
Stay strong and keep going, keep fighting, which is great. We have to. However, we need to have the right tools and the resources to do that.
The two of you, we represent different races and ethnicities. At the risk of putting you both on the spot, why are we not able to use these uniformed experiences in terms of anxiety, stress, drive? We all look different, right? We are Y chromosomes, you're an X chromosome. We all are sharing this space. Why hasn't this been something we're able to share together to bring us more as a community?
If I may,
Yes,
I don't have the
yes.
counseling degree here, but you mentioned our differences and similarities as well. But I can speak, especially from the African American perspective, there has been such a stigma in, culturally speaking, viewing mental health as something weak. Luckily, there have been a lot of really big name celebrities, Taraji B. Henson, people of that ilk who have brought it to the forefront. And now it is something that is, people walk proudly and say, yes, my therapist said. And I think that is just wonderful, especially young people. We still have a lot of challenges, but that is something that I'm seeing a difference in.
Absolutely.
May I ask you the same?
Yes. I think one of the things is, like you mentioned, Rhonda, the limitations that we've been forced to accept almost through our upbringing, through the cultural exposure, societal norms.
Yes.
We see a lot of men of color, women of color that are struggling to get the services because even growing up in my culture, as I was talking about going into depression of sorts and the responses
For those who are
you
listening
would
on the
get.
radio, if you don't mind, mention that your culture is what?
Yep, I'm Indian by origin. And so going into depression, and the response would be, there's no need to go anywhere. Just get some, get some books, get education, smile. It's a
that must have been so relieving.
Emotional. Right, it was. I'm like, oh, that's all I have to do. Just smile and be happy. Right?
What a win.
And so, exactly. It was simplified and just almost negated and invalidated. And so I think that being able to offer that space to the community, to say, no, your feelings matter, your thoughts matter. Let's talk about these things. And so that's one of the things that I hope to kind of continue working on. With
both complicated and simple concepts. I thank you both for your honesty.
Sure.
As we close out here, can you tell me where we can find out more about Ann Grady's services?
Absolutely. AnnGrady.org is our website. And then Ann Grady Services can be found on the social media. And with my counseling, I've just started my practice in a couple months ago. And so Saha Counseling, and I'm in Sylvania area, so you can find that on social media as well.
Terrific. All right, thanks very much. We are closing out our first segment, even without Gretchen and Kevin. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for being the anchor here. And we'll be back in just a moment with Brad Toft, President and CEO of the YMCA.
To me, community means connecting to others.
I'm Donnie Miller, and welcome to The Point.
I love PBS Kids!
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
I would send them personally a t-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the Old West End, pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Vision loss for people is not the end.
It's a story, it's the next chapter.
WGTE Public Media invites you to Get Out and Play Day.
The 419, 7 a.m. on YouTube, 3 p.m. on FM 91, and 6 p.m. on WGTE Connects. It's the 419, powered by WGTE.
WGTE, where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
Welcome back to the 419, of course, brought to you by Witro Wealth Management and our great partners at the Greater Toledo Community Foundation. We've got a great show today. Rhonda Sewell is in the hot seat here, providing some class to me, which is really needed. But we've got a friend of mine and really a friend of the area, which will make Brad feel uncomfortable, which is also one of my driving needs here this morning. Brad Toft, President and CEO of the YMCA. Brad, we met a long time ago at a Waterville Rotary meeting, and everyone, I can't remember, was furious about something. We sat next to each other. I found you to be a very calming influence. You oversee a great multitude of things, but I will tell you, and this again will make you feel uncomfortable, I've always appreciated your cerebral nature, how direct you are, how linear and logical you can be in the face of angry mobs.
I'm going to make sure my wife watches this.
You wrote this down for me to say, so I don't. I do want to talk about the Y's history. We had the Ann Grady Services on just before you, which has been around since the 80s. So that doesn't happen by accident, but you've got them beat in terms of lineage here. So talk to me a little bit, for those who may not know, where and how did the Y start?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So last year we celebrated our 160th anniversary.
Wow,
You look terrific.
Yeah, oh, thank you. Yeah. A group of people came together, and the Y was relatively new in the world, and they wanted to start a Y. And it's funny because some of our very first programs we did were to help Civil War veterans adjust back to living in Toledo.
Good Lord.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
But you have been with the Y for a bit of a stint yourself,
Yeah,
sir.
I'm in my 37th year.
37
That's
years.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm an old man.
No, season. We say season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brad,
awesome.
although I did tee up how much I think of you, and I certainly do, or I'm lucky to consider you a friend. Where are you from originally, and how'd you get into 37 years of this level of service?
Yeah, so I'm a Minnesota native.
Sure.
My dad worked for the Y, and always growing up in the Y, I always knew it was a good place.
Yeah. Can I ask you a controversial question,
Sure.
Brad? Do you guys have just too many lakes? When is it too many lakes?
There's never too many lakes. Absolutely never too many lakes.
No, but your history.
So I always wanted to work for the Y. I got done with college, and a position opened up, and a gentleman that my dad had hired me to be an aquatics director and run some other programs. Spent some time trying to learn the Y.
Yeah.
My first CEO job was in Owasso, Michigan.
Okay.
And the person from
Thriving metropolis.
Beautiful community.
Yeah.
The person who ran that search for the National Y was a camp counselor for my dad.
Okay.
So I got my first two jobs because of my dad. And I'm proud of that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you both.
Yeah.
You both are following in the footsteps. We mentioned a little bit in the prior segment, Rhonda. There is many great things about that, but there is some challenges to it as well. These are big shoes. Aren't you such and such's daughter? Aren't you such and such's son? Right? Working in the same space adds a layer of complexity even on top of that, meaning this is nepotism. I don't know if they said nepotism in your time because Sounds like you started right during the Civil War, during the Y.
I think it has been because both of our parents were so well respected. It was nothing but a positive thing.
Sure.
That it gave me a lot of credibility I didn't deserve when I started. I would tell you, I got my last 3 Y jobs all by myself.
Yes, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I'd also share that my youngest son works for the Y in Washington State. So
That's
third generation,
awesome.
which I'm very proud
And
of.
so also there's a legacy of service, I
Yeah.
think, that we attain from our parents
100%
as well.
agreed.
Because we walk the earth in ways, I think, very similarly with parents that kind of were great models. And that's
right.
what parents should be.
Yeah.
And we.
Did you hear that, Dad? I'm just kidding.
So much so that we admired what they did and the way they walked the earth.
We
as
don't
well.
know how to live our life any differently.
Exactly.
That's a classic, both of you fashion, taking the courage out of both of your works. Brad, if you don't mind, I do want to continue to dive a little bit deeper on the why, but service to you means what?
I want to make a difference with my time on this earth.
Yes.
I've been blessed to be in a position to be able to help facilitate that. That's what motivates me.
Talk to me about what is going on at the Y. A lot of really exciting things.
Yeah,
a lot. That's why you look like this haggard creature.
I'm an old man.
That's
right.
Only 26 years old.
Our Y is we're a large nonprofit.
Yes.
We have 10 locations. One being our beautiful resident camp up in Michigan, store camps. We serve over 100,000 people every year. And we've really been driven by a strategic planning process that our board has led that has really focused on helping kids be successful in school, help the community become healthier, and then bring people together. We've tried to deliver true measurable outcomes in a lot of those areas. Like we're the best at pre-K, just period. Our kids leave us, go to kindergarten, and they are ready to learn, which we're proud of that. The healthy living space, we have a lot of chronic disease prevention programs that are outcome-based, that are making a difference in the health of a lot of people. We do a lot of different stuff, and it's really hard to describe what the Y does. And I heard somebody say this a year ago. He said, we do 1,000 different things, but all we really do is one thing, and that's change lives for the good.
Wow.
We've got, pardon me, Rhonda, we've got two segments with you. I do want to talk about the services here, which is a good dovetail with, and then go into sort of the hard construction and the buildings themselves in your net. So, and I think I interrupted you, Rhonda. Give me one moment. Talked about the breadth of programming. You are celebrating an anniversary for a pretty cool program just this year, if I'm not mistaken. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Remind me what program that is.
The Rainbow.
Oh, thank you. Gosh, my goodness.
So many programs.
That's the truth.
We're doing our 20th year of at Store Camp, something called Camp Catch a Rainbow.
I love this.
And it's a free experience for kids with cancer. We have volunteer medical folks that come, so the kids come and they have a full the medical support they need. Our goal is to really help those kids just be a kid for a week.
Yes.
There's a lot of kids that you go and you watch, they're just kids, then you notice a couple don't have hair, some are missing limbs, but they're just being kids together.
Yeah.
Regrettably, we lose kids from one summer to the next. It's an unbelievable experience.
Yeah.
I'm new to finding out about this, and I can't tell you how moved I was by this is in process. I was diagnosed with leukemia when I was a real little kid, which turned out to be a different disease, but my parents had to spend a significant amount of time in a child's oncology ward after just losing my brother. And many of the people that were on that floor, to your point, Mr. Toft, were going to be not going home. So we mentioned it with the Angry Services, and what the Y does is not just provide services for the child or the kids, but provide something positive for the parents. We have a myriad of things going on in our community and across the world. Obviously, the national news came to our backyards just in this past week, and we're quickly to blame one another and everyone we possibly can, other than looking in the mirror and saying what role I played in it. But the Y has been creating what we've been doing about things like this for 100+ years. So we talk about the challenges of safety and security and the fact that the apocalypse is upon us, but I do want to walk through, as painfully as it may be for you, and I know that you're on a very high level here, so the granular nature is something you don't get to brag about, but talking about filling the summers with positive things, you fill a summer with positive things every year. So talk to me about what the doors are open all the time, but the doors are definitely open in the summer. Walk me through a summer at the Y.
Yeah, so I'll do that. But first, I will tell you one
This
of
is
the
my
things,
show, Brad. You do what I say.
one of the things I'm really proud of, if you go into any of our buildings right now, you're going to have people of all walks of life.
That's right.
Of all socioeconomic areas, and they're all together in a space.
Thank you.
There's no judgment. Everybody there is just trying to get better. So I'm really proud of the role the Y plays within that. So that's going on right now, and it'll happen every day this summer.
That's right.
Beyond that, we have our summer childcare for school-age kids. We'll serve about 900 kids this summer, and they have a great experience. I think they go to the museum. I think we, one day a week, we bus everybody to our Sylvania campus where we have 34 acres of outdoor space that they fish, they canoe, do some STEM activities.
Yeah.
And then we do a lot of unique specialty programs in the summer. Partnered with Connecting Kids to Meals
Yes.
at a couple of our locations to feed kids. Our Wayman Palmer Y, which is only a year old or so.
It's a beautiful facility.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Beautiful facility.
And the way the community has embraced that has been beyond my expectations. We have seniors there right now we have a partnership with the Office on Aging. There's a Blackie Senior Center is now part of our Y. So we'll be feeding seniors, they'll be doing karaoke, they'll be doing dance class.
Does the Blackie Center insisted that you do the polka?
No, actually the line dancing class is not polka.
Thank God. Yeah, that is a service to the community. Not making people do polka is probably a win in itself.
Yeah. Yeah, so our summers are busy. Our outdoor pools, we have our outdoor pools in Sylvania East, Y, and we run the City of Perrysburg pool in the summer.
We talked a little bit in the prior conversation about cultural differences. At risk of generalizing here, swim lessons has been part of children's lives across the community. I did my swim lessons at the Y. Rhonda, again, forgive me here, but we're talking about swimming and making people comfortable with the water. That is something that, culturally speaking, is usually something the African American community does not have access to. This is important.
Yeah, it's so important, and we all know Wanda Jean Butts in our community.
Yes.
But the history of the culture is vastly different. Africans were known for swimming.
That's right.
And so but the lack of access because of a whole bunch of things that we don't have time to talk about has prevented that. But places like the YMCA are so relevant. I actually learned to swim at the YWCA downtown. And took advantage of
Is that why you're a worse swimmer than you could be if you were at the other one?
Hush.
Okay.
Hush. And love the fact, like, I'm going on my 60th year, and I
Sorry.
I literally would cry because I did not want to go to camp.
Yeah.
And then at the end of store camp, we would cry because we did not want to leave camp.
Yeah.
We didn't want to come back home. It's a magical place.
It's a special place.
My
it really
kids,
is.
who are almost 30,
Yeah.
my twin daughters went through store camp as well.
That's awesome.
What a legacy.
Yeah.
And congratulations on 160 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
My anecdotal experience with swimming was at the downtown Y. And again, this isn't created just for the sake of the show, but I was with my mom, and we swam to a different mom, and that mom's child swam to my mom. And I swam to an African-American woman. So again, not to be heavy-handed here, but there's something to be said about that moment, right?
Yeah.
I was a kid from Old Orchard,
Yeah.
although I went to Toledo Public Schools.
Sure.
So it was certainly the melting pot as we all aspire to be a healthier piece there. But that's just a granular example of what the Y does.
Yeah.
Brad, let me ask you a question. You said something earlier about walking in the Y. It's all walks of life. And so this is probably already beat what I thought was going to be my showstopper question, but that's what a better thinker does to me on a daily basis, and my friend Rhonda does as well. But when you walk into the Y, well, I mean, work sucks, right? No matter how great your jobs are, and we have 3 pretty great jobs. But when you're walking into the Y, is there a look to it? Is there a sound to it that resets you on a molecular level?
Oh, every time I go in.
That's a great question.
Tell me about that.
I mean, you understand this too.
Yes, I do.
You walk in, and I've given a lot of tours of Wayman, for example.
Yeah.
And I
Thanks for the invite. I've never had one tour. That's fine.
Happy to do that anytime. I gave a tour right after school ended this year, and place was packed of all ages.
Yeah.
There was kids in the pool, in the gaming studio. The seniors were in the senior center. The buzz of the Y, you can feel the impact that's happening in the sense of community.
Yeah.
And you can do that to the granular level. You walk into a swim lesson, you can tell if the swim lesson's going well, and it's so positive.
Yes.
You know. Yeah. Some of my best moments in my career when I was running programs were realizing that buzz of positive stuff that was going.
Do you have a moment? And I mean, you have a 37 years is a deep book, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a moment that stands out to you in the sea that you want to share with us today? Like not an aha moment because this is in your book.
There was some. I've been humbled by the experiences that I've been able to have.
Yeah.
I ran a camp years ago and it was successful, not because of me. I was a program person, so I didn't have much impact on that. But we filled up. And one day a little girl got off the bus and I could have brought the letter because I still have it. And the letter said, "Dear Brad, hope you're doing well. I hope your summer's going well. I'm not going to be able to attend camp this summer because my parents didn't get signed up in time. I'm going to miss the long, bumpy bus ride, the horses, and the people most of all." And then she said, "My parents just got divorced last week."
Yeah.
So that little girl was in camp the next day because she needed it. And it tells me that there are so many obstacles. This was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It tells me there's so many obstacles for kids to be able to actualize their potential. And what we do is eliminate those barriers over and over and over again. We've been doing it for 106 years.
We're going to go into the next segment and talk about eliminating barriers. Some of this geographic, right? You will have a wide net. It might be the boring part of the show, but I do want to talk about the buildings themselves, how this is funded, which in itself is not an easy thing. And we're going to put you through the 419 quiz, which I can only describe as an excruciating experience.
Fantastic.
And I do think you're ready for it. Again, my name is Matt Killam. I have my special guest anchor here, Rhonda Sewell. Brad Toft, the President and CEO, will be stuck with us for yet another segment brought to you by Wheatrow Wealth Management, of course. It's powered by your friends at WGTE. Thanks very much for listening or checking us out.
Support for the 419 comes from Wheatrow Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at wheatrowadvisors.com.
Destination Toledo. Whether you're a local or a visitor, Destination Toledo invites you to explore the region and be a tourist in Toledo. Find events, dining, and things to do at visittoledo.org.
WorkSpring. HR issues and employee well-being go hand in hand. WorkSpring supports employers through compliance, training, and wellness because healthy workplaces don't happen by accidents. Learn more at workspring.org.
Toledo Refining Company, a subsidiary of PDF Energy. Toledo Refining Company is a supplier of fuels that keep our region moving. Located in Oregon, Ohio, the refinery processes crude oil into gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and other petroleum products.
And Tarda, celebrating its 55th year of connecting Northwest Ohioans to their community. More information at tarda.com.
Welcome back to another episode of 419. We are in our second segment with Brad Toft, the President and CEO of the YMCA. Brad, thank you so much. Thank you for putting up with Rhonda. She's literally the only person that would do this. Everyone else has my phone blocked. So thank you again to Rhonda. The Great Community Foundation is doing a million great things around and have for a long time. The Y is at the top of that pyramid. We talked a little bit about breaking down barriers, and we talked a little bit about the programmatic reach. In order to have access and equity, some of that has to be location, right? Location. And I think is a mantra from a different business model, but it is true for both of our works, right? You have the reverse challenge, right? Having a singular location that you want to make sure everyone has access to.
Exactly.
But you have got a footprint here. To go back a little bit of the history of this, where was the first Y, and then how did it spread into the empire that you now sit on top of and lord over?
So it started in London, England. It started in Boston in the U.S. Actually, they're celebrating their 175th anniversary. So 15 years after it hit U.S. shores, we had a Y in Toledo, which is pretty cool.
Very cool.
We didn't own properties when we started. We were just doing programs. I believe our first building was just north of the current downtown library.
Okay.
And then we had a number of different offices, and as you know, in those days there would be fires and things would burn to the ground. And so, gosh, I believe it was in the early 1900s we actually had our first permanent facility.
And now you oversee.
We have 10 locations.
10 locations.
3 of them are in Michigan. One is actually a resident camp,
Okay.
and then 8 around the greater Toledo area.
When you look at the overwhelming complexity of dealing with everyday human beings and maintenance of facilities, I do want to get into a bit of the org chart, although that might not be interesting to some. It's important to know how something of this size and the magnitude of offerings functions. But the buildings themselves and locations, how do you decide where you need to be or where you need to be next?
Yeah, we go through all the due diligence that any functioning business would do. We do market studies, we do feasibility studies, and let that drive.
What does that look like from what you provide? What are you looking for? Are you looking for a delta of services or a growth in population?
Yeah, so like the Wayman Palmer Y.
Yes.
Before, and I got to thank the city of Toledo for coming along with us in that building. There's a firm that does work for Ys that really looks at who's likely to become a member of the Y, what kind of amenities that they want, what they may be able to afford for a price point for a membership. And then from that study, we typically would go into a fundraising feasibility study because our buildings, we have to build the capital.
That's right.
We have very, very little margin, and we can't charge enough to have capital replacement built back into our operating budget. If everything is positive, then we move forward with the campaign, and when we raised enough, we build a building.
How long does that process take?
Years.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, I believe
Just years, yeah.
And the risk of doing real due diligence and having it be the length of time that you've committed to it as things change within that timeline, right? The last 5 years, of course, probably being the prime example, certainly of our lifetimes. Maybe not Rhonda's because you were here during the Spanish flu.
Yes, of course.
And
survived.
Must have been a tough time. Yeah, you did so well. Again, Rhonda, putting it back on your lap, you were lucky, I think your words, to work under Claude. And you have which I've said a great deal, both of your agencies are the largest provider of public services in our region. You know that I think that. And Clyde's leadership certainly helped that, as Jason's is currently. The net of services there, the amount of people that you see come through your doors or plug into your programming is as diverse as they can be, right? Talk to me a little bit about your experience in that capacity and moving forward your career, making sure that you're continuing to serve Northwest Ohio in the way you have.
Yeah, you touched on my 15 years with the Toledo-Lucas County Public Library. One of the greatest and most democratic of all institutions are our public libraries. And Clyde Scholes, the late Clyde Scholes, who was my mentor and really built what we know as the library system in the Toledo area and, countywide as well. And Jason Kuchma doing a wonderful job as the leader now.
Who is the better dresser, Jason or Clyde?
I'd say it's a close tie.
Me too.
Yeah, close tie.
And Jason is going to be furious when he hears this, but he needs our help. And by ours, I mean yours.
Keep
going, forgive me.
But Alex Haley, we all know Alex Haley, who wrote Roots, right?
Yes.
He once said that if you want to know something about a community, all you have to do is spend an afternoon in a public library.
Yes.
And there's an equal amount of access to knowledge.
Yes.
And I think it's similar with a Y.
I do too.
You can go into a Y and really get a look at what the community is all about, and you see that there's no barriers.
That's right.
It's access for all. And one of the things that's similar also, even I'm going to count the museum, Metro Parks, the library, the Y. WGTE, all of them, it's just their presence alone serves as almost like an economic driver to a community, especially that Wayman Palmer.
No question.
Having that there, that does something to a community, and thank you for that. But I think that's that equity you're talking about, and equal access to all.
So we're talking about outside the fence line services. Brad, I've had to beat you into becoming a little self-congratulatory, which I failed at. So I'm going to move on. I'm just going to throw in the towel here. Talk to me about all the people that work at the Y to make this work look relatively easy, which of course it is not. So you've got buildings, you have a giant footprint. The services you provide are vast
Yeah.
and they're long-standing. So there's got to be an army of people that makes this happen. So few people are interested in the org chart, but for those of people who are listening, talk to me about how this works.
Yeah, and I would tell you number one reason for our success is the quality of the people that work for the Y. They are highly professional.
Yes, sir.
They're the most committed to service of a group of people I've ever worked with. They're not working for the Y to get rich. They're doing it because of the impact that they have on every level, and they're highly professional. So the National Y is a federated organization, which means they can't dictate programs to us, but they provided excellent staff training. So we have a highly professional staff.
Yes.
1,400 employees total, about 165 full-time. The rest are part-time. So one of the things we do, we're the first employer for a lot of young people over the years.
Yeah.
But so we.
How old were you when you got your first job at the Y?
I did an internship during college.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rhonda, what was your
great.
first job?
You don't want to know. It was at that wonderful school in the north, U of M.
Okay.
And I was in the janitorial services, and I had tools, and I just, put the little nuggets here and the little wrenches here. And that was my first job.
Yeah,
I know.
I can tell by some of your hand gestures here. For those of you who are just listening, your hand gestures, that must have been a total disaster.
That was high school.
Brad, 1,400 employees. Well, I won't go into the complexity of having some of it be part-time and not. That would be for a full employment seminar.
Correct.
But funding, again, in my line of work, it is either the first or second question.
Yeah.
You and your crew are not doing it to be rich, as you said. The complexity of a capital stack to build a new Y isn't an easy gig, made only more difficult in the recent history. But talk to me about how the Y is funded and how that works.
Yeah, so one of the things I would share is that of those 100,000 people we serve every year, nearly 40% of them are getting some sort of help to be a member of the Y.
Sure.
So we do eliminate. We turn no one away because of their inability to pay, and that's for every program and everything that we do. We, as I mentioned, our operating model isn't sufficient to be able to reinvest in our buildings, so we have to raise money.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate with the city of Toledo at Wayman. The only reason that happened is because of the investment that the city of Toledo made. And as you guys both know, really the idea of facility partners is really probably the best way of serving the community. In that fundraising, one of our challenges in Toledo, there's not a lot of deep pockets.
That's right.
And they have to pick and choose what they invest in. But we do as well as we can.
Yeah.
And
so the interplay between the Y National and Y Local, is there a fellowship there? Do you link arms, or is it also must be a bit of an AA meeting, meaning it's a group therapy to talk about how you're going to meet the next challenges? What is that?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, so their purpose is to support local Ys to best serve their community. That when we formed 175 years ago, they recognized that somebody in Chicago doesn't know the needs of the Toledo and what programs we should do. So I'm really grateful for that. But they do mobilize ourselves. We're very well networked. We organize ourselves by state, by neighborhood. And state stuff is more for advocacy, as you guys can imagine. And we share best practices. They have certifications that we take advantage. We can get certified in anything we do.
Sure.
And it is all very, very positive.
I'm always fascinated with the vacillation between micro and macro management, right? So you're looking at things on a national level, which are eventually going to find their way to even our little burg. But can you talk to me a little bit about sort of your leadership thoughts or mantra between micro, macro, micro, macro? You're not, although 1,400 employees seems like a lot, you are probably having to be thrown into a day-to-day to some degree in some granular nature because you just aren't a giant place, and that is by design.
Yeah, we are. We have a great staff. So I have a chief operating officer that basically handles the operation. We have branch executive leadership that runs each individual branch, and then program expertise coming up our ears. We have great people that they can solve any issue that we have. I would tell you, and I think that's why I'm in Toledo is because we're not, some of my colleagues across the country have these grandiose strategic plans that mean nothing.
Yeah, sure.
So we are more tactical in our thought process that leads to strategy in some ways. And I know that's contrary to how we do it, but we want to get the work done.
That is really well said. I think that you can say strategy all the time, and then there are people suffering as the result because it isn't hitting the ground. And then by the time you look up again, it's time for another 3-year strategic plan. And that's not to denote that. Go ahead.
I agree with you. I'm not being critical of my colleagues, but to say we're going to reduce obesity on the county by 10% in 20 years, what does that mean?
That's
Where
right.
we're trying to, like, our focus is on let's improve our internal measurements leading to kindergarten readiness success because we know that long term that kids are going to be more successful.
It's a grossly simplified statement, right? But you talk about in self-improvement, doing the next right thing. Doing the next right thing at every day when you open up the why does inform strategic planning, right? To that end, it's a good segue into what is next, right? A lot of wins here. You just opened the Wayman Palmer. By no means should you be I think putting pressure on yourself to do the next thing. That isn't how you lead anyway, sir, to your credit. But what is on the horizon other than providing the absolute godsend the services you already do? But what's next?
So I would tell you our board of directors is very forward thinking, and I'm grateful for the guidance and support that they give. Very proud of the direction that they have put the Y in. Our next, we do have a project that's in process. We recently purchased the old LA Fitness, East Borda, Gold's Gym building in Sylvania, gone through all the due diligence, and that's going to be a tremendous positive thing for that community. And it's also going to be a tremendously positive thing for our association.
That's awesome.
Mr. Toft, it is always awkward after having an important, good conversation to roll into the
Here we go.
419
Buckle
quiz.
up.
I'm excited. Let's go.
Shane, our producer, hates this segment with the passion of 7 sons. So, Shane, this one's for you, buddy. This is going to be 4 rapid-fire questions from me. My colleague here, Rhonda, is going to ask you your favorite thing in the region. Is that what it is, the one thing? I don't know. I'm just on the show every single day.
I'm winging it.
No, it's describe the region in 1 word if you can.
1 word,
and then 9 of your favorite things, and I'll walk you through it, brother.
Okay.
All right,
Good.
Here's the hard part.
Okay.
Other than having to look at me. What's your favorite way to waste time online?
Editing pictures in ChatGTP.
My man. What do you think about more than anything else?
How I can be a better person.
How many times a day do you lose your keys or phone?
Rarely.
That doesn't surprise me. I don't know where either one of those objects are right now in
Yeah,
myself.
it's right now. You don't know how. You can get home with me.
That's right. We'll just walk. What's the best thing you've ever eaten from a restaurant?
Oh my gosh, Mancy's has a great steak, man.
Yes, it does. All right, thank you, Mancy's, for that.
I didn't mean to.
And then the final. What is your favorite thing in the region?
Yeah, and I know this will sound corny, but the YMCA.
Absolutely.
Oh, good answer.
The impact that we have. I'm so humbled to be part of our great organization and the history of what we've done. I could think of nothing better to do with my life's work.
We'll cut the 419 quiz short again because Shane hates it, and it's just he and I today. If you did have to describe the region with one word, what would it be?
Yeah, so the one word's hard.
Yes.
So one thing I've always said, when I came to town, I've been in 5 communities. The leadership in Toledo gives you time. I've been in communities that they don't give you time. And that, I don't know what word that describes, but they care about what this community is. Yeah, we should be proud of that.
I agree with you. Like and we're proud of you. Let me, if you could script how people would refer to your legacy at the Y. I know it's a difficult question, and you're very humble, and I'm grateful for your leadership and that part of you. But what would be meaningful to you to have someone say about the time you spent with the Y?
That he did his best to change the world.
Yeah. Well, you're doing that every day, and so are the 1,400 people that work under you and serve you.
My team do the work.
Yeah.
I'm just the figurehead.
No, we know, Brad.
I know.
Yeah, goodness Lord. All right. Thanks very much. We'll be closing out a different episode of the 419 with my friend and colleague, Rhonda. So we'll be back to you in just a few minutes. Thank you, WGT, and thank you, Mutual Wealth Management, for allowing this to happen.
You laughed with us. You learned with us.
Hi, neighbor.
we made sure your childhood was special. Memories that could only be provided by PBS. For generations, we've given you programs that made a difference. Programs that entertained, informed, and inspired. And today is no different. This is WGTE Public Media in Toledo. It's where you belong.
Want to keep up with everything WGTE Public Media? Well, there's an app for that. Our new app provides national and local content from radio and television on demand. Listen live, watch your favorite TV programs, access schedules or podcasts, set reminders for your favorite shows, and more. Download it free for Android or Apple.
Welcome back to the 419. Rhonda, you and I made it. Thank you for, again, providing some actual talent to the show and helping your buddy in a pinch. Again, Gretchen is out. She is called into duty. As most of you know, she's an attorney. We're extremely proud of her, and nothing means more to Gretchen than providing people a real justice and support through the legal community. Kevin, of course, is just on vacation, so who cares about that guy? You're here. Pretty great show, if I do say so myself. You stewarded it, but two great guests. And Grady Services is an outstanding institution. Talked a little bit about counseling. We talked about the why with Brad Toft. There is some real duality here as you found your way, as you do, to connecting with other people. Your thoughts about being on the show and some things that you either learned or knew or reinforced?
Yeah, it's just, it reinforces, you know, you and I both, and Gretchen and Kevin, have a ride or die mentality when it comes to what we love about Toledo and the greater Toledo area. And having our two guests on today from Ann Grady Services, YMCA, I mean, those are anchor, you know, places. Those are anchor institutions. Where would we be without them in our community? And so that's what this show really promotes so well, is the good work that we're doing here. And we have become a model for other communities and other cities. And Brad touched on it really well in his segment when he talked about there's just something different about the 419. There's something different, and it's that dignity, that patience that allows someone in leadership to grow in leadership and not be rushed. And we talk about this. There's a spirit of collaboration I'm finding among anchor institutions. We're partnering, the museum and the Metro Parks are partnering on projects that I have not seen. I've been here since I was about 21. I have not seen in past years. And there's just something different, and those two guests really exemplified that.
I think some of it too is, if you allow me, that no one is coming to save us. So we better get together and save ourselves. Rhonda, you're a dear friend, and I'm thrilled to sit next to you at any capacity. But this morning, it's wonderful to have you here. The clarity and the grace for which you walk through the space is, I know, on your parents' shoulders. Great show.
Thank you.
For those of you that are tuning into this or have no idea how we usually send out, thanks to Wheatro Wealth Management. Of course, we are powered by WGTE, which is about equity and inclusion, bringing news and information in a positive light to all of you.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you.